Let's bring in tonight's panel now. Sky News host James Macpherson, who did a brilliant job filling in for me last night. And I was watching from home, had a bit of a flu. And James, you were making me laugh when you spoke about how Albo said from the river to from the Jordan River to the ocean. And you were quite hilarious. And also, of course, welcome to former John Howard advisor David Gazard. I mean, James, this has been just a farce, the whole thing. He didn't know, that it's the Mediterranean Sea. He called it an ocean. And now today he's praised by Hamas.
Yeah, Anthony Albanese's never been known for his ability to be across the detail. But, I mean, this is a pretty important issue. There's no more important issue in the world right now. And you'd expect the Prime Minister to at least know which sea he's speaking about when quoting that particular chant. And the fact that Hamas came out today praising his decision was entirely predictable because, as you pointed out earlier in the program, Hamas have been saying that they like this idea when the French supported it, when the Brits, the Canadians supported it. So for Anthony Albanese to be surprised that Hamas like his idea is quite something. But here's the thing we now have, Shari. We now have a Prime Minister who's loved by Hamas and by the Chinese Communist Party. That's quite something.
No, and just on that point, David, I think this is actually incredibly serious, and I don't think most of the media are acknowledging just how big of an issue this is, that today Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, dismissed or criticised the move by Australia, Canada, the UK and others to recognise a Palestinian state. And you had the worst terrorist group on this earth today praise our government. This is the most warped foreign policy. I mean, can you imagine just how different this government is from John Howard's prime ministership, where you were an advisor to John Howard, others who stood firm against terrorism?
Well, it's been the longest and most enduring security treatment of our lifetimes, the US alliance. China's not going to come to our defence. It's fanciful to believe that we can go it on our own. The US has been, our strongest economic partner, even though we do a lot of trade with China. So the idea, I think, that has sort of taken hold is that we can dismiss the US. And in some ways, I think the presidency of Donald Trump has forced the left further, and they're now unlikely bedfellows with Hamas, with China, with Putin. These are all in the same club.
Exactly.
And bizarrely, the thing that I can't get my head around still is that they seem to be supporting the Ayatollah in Iran, who has been the master in creating the puppet state or the puppet administration of Hamas in Gaza. So it does your head in, and it's distressing. And I can only imagine what it's like to be a Jewish person in Australia at the moment. Yeah,
no, not good. It is depressing, that's for sure. Come back to this a bit later with Jonathan Conricus. I want to look at this move by the unions to push for a 4-day working week, but still on the same pay as 5 days. The ACTU has come out and said this would make workers and employers happier and healthier. Have a look at ACTU President Michelle O'Neill.
All the independent studies into it show you that it's really good for working people and for businesses, and it's good for a few reasons. It's good because workers' performance improve. They're healthier. They're more likely to stay in the job. They're less likely to get burnt out.
I mean, James, this is meant to be a productivity summit. Isn't a 4-day week the antithesis of productivity?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Let's come up with ideas to improve productivity. I know. What about we work less for the same pay? How does that add up? But the math seems to go, Shari, that we can get 5 days' work done in 4. Now, if that's true, why can't they get 6 days' work done in 5. That would be a way to increase productivity. If they're sitting around and wasting so much time that they can do 5 in 4, well, then do 6 in 5 and see Australia really get some productivity. The quotes there that workers will have less burnout, they'll be more organised, etc., etc. Those comments are not from any qualitative studies. They're from feedback from workers who've been asked, if you worked 4 days rather than 5, how do you think you would go? And of course workers are going to say, oh, we'd be far more productive. I'd say that as well, but everybody knows it's a furphy.
No, of course. But David, you know, this is part of a broader trend, I suppose, where governments are interfering in business practices. I mean, you look at not contacting workers after hours, Jacinta Allen saying that she's introducing laws where you can work from home 2 days a week, and now perhaps this, a plan to have 4 days. I mean, shouldn't these Labor governments just leave business to deal with their own work practices?
Well, it's somewhat worse than that, I think, Shari, in that the Treasurer and Prime Minister are now laying the responsibility of lifting productivity at the feet of business and wanting business to play a greater part, while having the productivity summit, which has this 4-day work week, you know, so people work less to create more productivity. But don't forget, in the last term, the ALP government adopted almost all of the ACTU demands to take our industrial relations system back to pre-Hawke and Keating levels. So it is sclerotic at the moment. Business is still dealing with that, and we've got the latest iteration from the ACTU, which is to get workers to work less. Now, the one tool that could be used to generate greater productivity is AI, if it's managed and regulated properly. That actually could be the harbinger of people working a 4-day week or even less if they were able to use that. But of course, the unions are implacably opposed to the introduction of AI because they might lose members. So, you know, it's not a productive. It sort of gives you the context around this productivity summit, which really I don't think is going to be much about productivity at all. It's going to be around taxing and spending.
Yeah.